So, scheduling notes, don't forget, we'll go up here because we do want to go over some of this information. So don't forget the things that some of the phrases and some of the words that we'll be using during this. I want to make sure you guys have that. And that's, of course, order bank. So we're talking about scheduling information. That's for people that have an order in their dealer's order bank, basically, right? That's where they place their stock and retail orders. And if you place an order with your dealer, that's considered a retail order, is what Ford likes to call that. And then stock orders would be orders that dealers put in place when they have no retail orders, but they have allocations, which we'll get to that in a second. Then they want stock orders and stuff. Like right now, we're seeing a lot of that for F-150s and some of those where there's not a lot of retail orders. Which will actually this week we can highlight and give you guys that information. Priority codes, that is what a dealer places a priority code on each order that they put in there. All retail orders are anywhere from an 03 to 19. Again, I need to update that. And then 20 to 80 is stock. So lower the better. So you can see a retail order will always be looked at before any stock order, because it's lower is better. Scheduling, and that is what we're going to talk about. Scheduling information. That is when Ford schedules an order for a production date. So that'd be an unscheduled order is looking to get scheduled for production date so their vehicle can get produced. And they always schedule in future months. So most models, they schedule 2 months out. So most models are scheduling for November build dates. F-150 and Super Duty, it's usually just 1 month out. So they're scheduling for October build dates. So they'll be scheduled to the week, and eventually when they get closer, they'll get scheduled to the day. Allocations. So orders are placed in the dealer's system order banks. Dealer needs an allocation to be able to schedule that order. So they earn allocations based on their sales volume. So just because you have a retail order in there doesn't mean your dealer is gonna get an allocation for your order. It doesn't work that way. We didn't get enough allocations to cover all of our Maverick orders last year, which is why they had to be rolled over. Some dealers didn't, maybe had earned allocations, but they didn't have enough retail orders. That's where the stock orders come in to fulfill the rest of those allocations. Constraints, those would be options that are in short supply that may take longer to build, something like that. That's why I tell you to stay away from, some of those accessories, because they can only do so many because they have to install those. Let your dealers do it. There's more dealers than there are factory workers to be able to put those in. Capacity, that is the planned production rate for a given motor, trim, or option for the entire year, not based on how many orders they have. That's based on what they feel like they can produce. So we'll talk about some of those numbers tonight. Job 1 and 2, they usually will split up their production year into 2 different job runs in case they come up with a snag, something has to be changed, like they had with Bronco Sport last year, where they were struggling with the black painted roofs. So they had to switch that to body color on the Outer Banks and the Badlands. So that's where they would have that second job where they can cut it off and redo that. The other is balance out. So that is when they're done with production on a certain color, option, even model sometimes, where they're balanced out and they're finishing out for production before moving on to the next model year. So there you go. Want to make sure people know about that kind of stuff. All right. And so as we go through this, we'll talk about this. And when we get to the is it true, actually, we'll break down some other things to think about as well for when you start thinking about some of those people that put things out on social media that they probably shouldn't. So let's get into Mustang first. Some things I need to add to that sheet is some of these situations I might say that a certain option is unlimited availability for scheduling, and some are exhausted availability. And limited availability it's very limited in number, but they do have some availability for pulling orders with those options on there. Exhausted, according to them, for this week. And we talk about these constraints that are on here. This is based on this week. It's not based for the whole year. It's not based for necessarily the entire month. This is what has been updated for this current week of scheduling. So just keep that in mind as well. That's something that came up in a lot of comments on this video on YouTube. So limit availability would be something that they could get a few done, but it's on a smaller scale. Exhausted means, according to them, that they're pretty much out of those parts, or they're out of something that they need to make that option or that package. But we've seen people get scheduled that had options that were exhausted. So just because it says exhausted doesn't mean you're done. It's a 0% or anything like that. It just means it's going to be more difficult. They're not going to do as many. So I have seen some with exhausted that got scheduled and have noted that in my videos, and that can happen. So keep that in mind. And I know that this is on a national scale. It could be different on a smaller regional scale. So it could be changed and modified there. Late availability will be something that's not available at this time, but will be available later. So some other terms that I'm seeing. Yeah. Anyway, if I come up with them, I'll let you know. So starting with Mustang, Mustang is not scheduling this week, and currently Mustang has 1,600 orders in the order bank. Actually, you know what? I was going to go to the other camera. Maybe I'll do that. Right?
Yes, you're supposed to switch it.
Go to the other camera. Now I'll have a hard time watching that one. All right. So that just helps out. So that way, Sarah's going to keep chatting with you guys. If you have any questions, don't forget, if you have any questions, put in at Sarah Davis, and she'll answer your questions for you. All right. So 24 Mustang, not scheduling this week. 1,600 orders, unscheduled orders in order bank, not counting Dark Horse. 24 Escape is next. Looks like they are scheduling for build dates in November, the weeks of November 13th, which is the first week they're going to start 24 model year, through the week of November 27th. There's currently 574 orders in the order bank. And right now, the only really constraint there is that plug-in hybrid is being produced at a 22% rate. Or no, they have about 22% of their orders are plug-in, and their capacity is 7%. So they're a little over capacity, but since there's only 574 orders, should be good if you have a plug-in hybrid order in there. Shouldn't have an issue getting it built this year. It just may take a little longer to get yours scheduled. So keep that in mind and be patient with that. 24 model year Bronco Sport. They are doing cleanup scheduling. That means they are scheduling. So we're getting into the end of September, and as we start October, let's just skip October altogether. When it's into October, that usually will still be using September's allocations. So keep that in mind. It takes about a week or so, or 10 days before they flip over and are using October's allocations for scheduling. So they are scheduling for Bronco Sport for production weeks, a week of November 6th through November 27th. Like I said, they're scheduling 2 months in advance on Bronco Sport. It does say in here exhausted availability on Outer Banks, but still could be a possibility. Limited availability for the following packages: premium package, which is optional on Badlands; the tech package, which is optional on Outer Banks; the front and rear splash guards. So limited availability, so very small number there. Exhaust availability is on that convenience package, which is optional on the Big Bend. And then late availability package is the black appearance package, and late availability trim level is the freewheeling edition. So that is not ready yet. A lot of times when we see late availability, usually it's like halfway through the model year. So have that in your mind. 271 orders in the order bank, and 12% of those are freewheeling, so which can't be scheduled yet. So it gives you an idea that there aren't a lot of orders in there that really even though some of those say limit availability and exhausted, probably won't have a problem getting those scheduled, because there's only 271 orders in the order bank. So there you go. All right, moving on to 24 Edge. They are scheduling this week for production dates the week of October 30th through November 27th. There's only 277 Edge orders in the order bank, so shouldn't have a problem getting yours scheduled if you have one submitted and waiting to get scheduled. 24 Ranger, and not scheduling right now, not producing. They haven't started up 24 model year yet. There's 2,800 orders in the order bank waiting to get scheduled. Some that are already scheduled, and those build dates are going to be pushed back. Right now, it's to be determined. It's probably going to be, they'll probably hopefully launch it as soon as they can settle on with the UAW. So, because the Ranger plant is Michigan assembly plant, which is now shut down right now. So no scheduling on those, no production. not really much else I can talk about there. We do know, don't forget, we've mentioned this for several weeks. 24 or the FX4 package needs those running boards put on those orders. And I haven't been saying this yet or all along. I don't know why. Order banks are open up for 24 model year Mustang, as well as Escape, Bronco Sport, Edge, except for ST, and Ranger. All order banks are open up for all those. Now, 23 model year Bronco, because we're still doing that, not scheduling this week. There's about 9,200 orders in the unscheduled orders in the order bank right now. So keep that in mind. Not a lot, really, once they can get that plan up and running. That probably, I think those are unscheduled orders. 9,200 are probably including 24 model year. Don't know. This was showing just 23, but I wonder if any of those are 24s. Don't forget, well, they're not scheduling this week, so we don't really need to talk about constraints because that's what they are. Now, I will say this, of the 9,200 orders, 92% of them have a hard top on the order. 92%. That is not their capacity. So I'll let you know how long that's going to take. 16% of those orders are Heritage Edition. I'll let you guys get to calculate, do that math if you want. But again, right now they're not scheduling Heritage Editions. They're not scheduling anything this week, but there you go. Anyway, and then of those hardtop orders, so there are only 14% of the 9,200 orders unscheduled are two doors, which is not that many. So their capacity is 15% for the entire year. So there you go. That's that. 24 model year Maverick, they are doing cleanup scheduling. Now, cleanup kind of means that they have some open slots. So they might look at it and go, you know what? We got all of our XLs, we got all of our Lariats, we need XLTs, we need EcoBoost orders. So whatever slots that they need to fulfill, that's what they're going to open up. And also, if any dealer still has allocations not fulfilled, that's also they're cleaning up those allocations so they don't have to carry over to the next month. They are scheduling for weeks 11 or November 6th through the weeks of November 27th. All right. It does say exhausted availability on XL. So actually, this is actually something we're going to talk about as part of the Is It True? So there's a rumor going out that they're not producing XLs or making XLs until December. We'll let you know if that's true or not during that section. But this is saying exhausted availability, so I think people are reading into that. But yes, so there's 41,000 orders in the order bank. Not that many. We're talking less than half of a model year production number in orders. That's not that many, but it doesn't sound like a lot, but there's still more Maverick. And some people are like, well, the demand on the Maverick is low. Not necessarily, because there's still more Maverick orders than any other model year and any other model, I should say. So even when you look at it, because all these order banks, a lot of these 24 model year order banks just opened up. So you would think they'd all have these numbers, but Maverick has the most unscheduled orders, and it's not because of production numbers. Super Duty is next, Bronco, right? But still, Maverick has more orders in the order bank than any other model. So I don't think it's down. I think it's still going. So limit availability for the 2.5 hybrid, also for the splash guards. That's the front and rear. Also for the XL and XLT tire, the optional tire that's available, and exhausted availability for the tonneau cover hard trifold. So there you go. Some things to note: there is the capacity of hybrids of what they can build is 55%. Is what they're giving us as a number. And then unscheduled orders, 68% of the unscheduled orders are hybrid. So I know that you're probably looking at those numbers, and I know this is something that I'm probably going to actually, I'm going to bypass this and talk about it later. But that number's not skewed. We're going to talk about that during the Is It True? So hopefully you guys hold on and come and stay tuned for that, because I'm going to enlighten you a little bit about that, about how these numbers and these sheets that people are putting out on social media, how if they don't explain what that all means, can look like it's a negative. But in this case, it's not. They can make every hybrid that's in the order bank. So keep that in mind as well. And then 40% of the orders in the order bank are XL, 23% XLT, 29% or 21% Lariat trim. So there you go. All right. And the order banks are open up for the Maverick as well as for the 24 Bronco. So forgot to mention that. 23 Explorer order banks is closed. There's 260 orders, unscheduled orders in the order bank, and of that, 2% are hybrid. So they are scheduling for build weeks, the week of October 30th through the week of November 27th. They're trying to do any cleanup scheduling for anybody that has open allocations available. So it does say dealers will have the ability to submit stock orders for the remainder of 23 model year. So if you have allocations as a dealer, you earn them. You don't have any retail orders. They're going to allow you to put stock orders in so you can fulfill those allocations that you have earned. It does say the base 100A, though, don't forget, is retail only, so you won't be able to order that. All right, so here's some things as they're trying to finish things out. Here's the options that are balanced out for the rest of the model year for 23, and that is Atlas Blue, the Jewel Red, and they're actually saying / Diamond Red Tricoat, so I think it's the same color. The 3.3 liter hybrid engine, as well as the rear seat entertainment system. So looks like if you have a hybrid order, you're not going to get it. So you better put in a 24 when it opens up, which is coming up soon, middle of October. Actually, it's on here. I can probably tell them. All right, we'll get into that. Exhaust availability would be the ST line as well as the XLT Sport Appearance Package. So not a 0, but slim chance. Limit availability for these options, and it's actually a pretty extensive list, so let's go through these. We have the 3.3 liter V6 engine, the 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine, the limited trim, I should say, platinum trim, XLT trim, King Ranch trim, 4-wheel drive, the high performance brakes, the Class 4 trailer tow package, the ST high performance package, and the twin panel moonroof. So hopefully you don't have any of those on your orders. There's only 260 orders, so sure everything's pretty clean there. And the 24 model year order banks are supposed to open up October 16th. It's on your scheduling notes, folks. So anyway, so that's coming up. 24 model year Expedition. They're scheduling, again, cleaning up any open allocations. There's 676 unscheduled orders in the order bank. Those are retail orders, by the way. Those aren't stock. So they are scheduling for the week of November 27th. Platinum will require the optional 22-inch wheel, and also Platinum units must include the multi-contoured seat removal. That didn't take long. So actually, we talked about that last week too. No availability on the short wheelbase, only the long wheelbase, which is weird because last year it was the other way around for part of the year. Exhaust availability for these certain options: the Timberline trim, the King Ranch trim, and then also those with the 301A and 302A with mahogany seats as well, and then the wheel option 64X, which is an 18-inch aluminum wheel, which is standard on the STX and the XLT. And then it does say best configuration available is the limited with the long wheelbase and the optional wheel for the 302A. And then also platinum long wheelbase with the optional wheel. So keep that in mind if you're looking to get one scheduled. That's the best configurations. But with only 676 orders and the order banks open up, it shouldn't take long to get yours scheduled, though. Also, another best configuration is the STX with the optional wheel and the XLT with the optional wheel and long wheelbase. So that was on page 2. Didn't see that. Okay. All right. Moving to the 24 model year Super Duty. There's 26,000 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank for the Super Duty. And here's some capacities to think about. So King Ranch, they build that at about a 4% capacity, which means 4% of all their built Super Duties will be King Ranch. 5% will be Platinum. 2% will be Limited. 21% Lariat. 10% Tremor package. And 10% the high output diesel engine. 57% of the orders in the order bank unscheduled orders have the high output diesel. I'd encourage you to maybe look at the other diesel. It's been a good diesel. You can always do that. Also, it also can maybe look at doing a lariat trim as well. If you have one of those luxury trims, see if lariat will be okay for you. Otherwise, there's 22% of the orders, unscheduled orders in the order bank are King Ranch, 27% are platinum, and 11% are limited. So those customers, it's going to take a while to get their scheduled. Just be patient. So, in trimmer package, 13% of the orders in there are trimmer, 10% capacity. That's not too bad. It's a little off. Now, let's go ahead and go through some of the other weekly constraints, though, as we talk about this. Scheduling production weeks at Kentucky will be they're scheduling for the weeks of October 23rd to November 6th. But in Ohio, they're scheduling for the weeks of October 30th to November 27th. King Ranch and Platinum will be 100% multi-contoured seat. It means there's no problem with you don't have to remove those multi-contoured seats. They have the parts in for them for that lower capacity. All chassis cab orders will require the upfitting integration system for 24 model year. So there was some confusion on this last week. Some people were asking about that. Do you mean the removal? No, they're saying that the chassis cabs do need to have the upfit integration system on those orders. It's actually standard equipment, but there was a removal. Do not have the removal on there. They need to have that. They need to have the integration system on there. Limit availability on King Ranch and Platinum. Exhaust availability on F350s, F550s, Lariat, and Limiteds. Again, as we've seen last week, we saw some people that got scheduled for the limited trims. We saw people with F350s get scheduled. So again, this is what they're giving us as notes, but it's not necessarily always what happens. So again, it could be within your region. Your region could say, hey, you know what? Here's what we have available. So let's give it to them, but the other regions could be exhausted completely. So, anyway, so that's just a note we're going off of here. Limit availability for the following options. There's quite a few. The 6.7 liter high output Power Stroke diesel engine. As I said, that's, when they say limited, they're saying as we mentioned earlier, 10%. So, yeah. And I think that's probably what they're probably talking about is when we look at that capacity numbers, that's why they're saying exhausted, because there's only 4%, 5%, 2%. That's probably why those are included there. The 7.3 liter gas engine is listed under limited availability. The 18-inch sparkle silver painted cast aluminum wheel as well, that's standard on the XLT, is on there. 20-inch chrome wheel, which is standard on the chrome package on the King Ranch. And then also the 18-inch bright machined and carbonized gray painted wheel, which is standard on the Lariat trim. So if you get the Lariat, you'll want to go to the optional wheel if you want to get scheduled. The LK frame, which is optional on the F550 600 with a diesel and 7.3. And then also 143-inch dually wheelbase without the payload package. Also the GBK frame, which is optional on the F350 two-wheel drives with the 7.3. It says 7.3 diesel, so I don't know if it's 7.3 gas or the diesel engine. So they need to correct that. And also the 145-inch dually wheelbase as well as the single wheel 145-inch wheelbase. The 193-inch wheelbase that's optional on the XL and XLT 450, 550, 600 chassis cabs is limited. Again, limited doesn't mean zero. It's just a small number. A low running frame GA, which is available on the F350 with the 7.3 gas engine or all diesel engines and the 145-inch wheelbase, as well as a low running frame PB, which is available on the 450s and 550s with the 7.3 gas engine or all diesel engines, 179-inch wheelbase and dual rear wheel. And then lastly, the Baja interior, which is optional on the XL and XLT, is limited. Now, exhausted availability, I mentioned some already up above, but here is a list of others. The TGL wheel, that's basically the standard wheel in the F450, that is exhausted, which is probably why the F450s having issues up above. The HBK frame, which is optional on the F350 two-wheel drives with the 7.3. Again, I mentioned 7.3 diesel. I don't know. And a 169-inch wheelbase. Also, the 205-inch wheelbase. That's optional on the XL, XLT, 450, 550, and 600 chassis cabs. The Dana Axle M315 rear, which is optional on the F350, 450, and 600 dualies with the 6.7 diesel engine. And then the 360-degree camera, the dual beacon LED strobe light at the Ember. Actually, I think that's two different options there. Also, the fifth wheel and gooseneck hitch prep package. It says not available with the drop-in liner or the bed mat. Which, yeah, we know that. That option is exhausted. Heavy-duty alternator, which is standard on the XL gas, says replace it with one of the other ones, which is options 67B, 67D, or 67E. The transfer case that's standard on the F600 4x4s with the 7.3 gas, I got that right, or the 6.7 diesel engine, and then 193-inch wheelbase or 205-inch wheelbase for the chassis cabs. And then the fifth wheel hitch kit. There you go. That is also if it's optional. If it's standard, don't worry about it. It does say not an option on the F250 and F350 King Ranch Platinum and Limiteds. So there you go. Order banks are open up for that, though. There you go. And then now I got a gnat. Did I get it? I think I got it. All right. All-Terrain Nation is bothering them. It's the streamers, I tell you what. All right. The 23 F-150, it has 1,500 orders in order bank. Not a lot. That's well more than what they can do in a month or even in a week, probably. They are scheduled for the weeks of December 11th and the week of December 18th. Don't forget to go get those in. Order banks are closed. Thought I got it. Guess not. All right. Order banks are open up for the 24 model year, except for Tremor and the Pro Access tailgate. Those are late availability items. So there you go. 23 model year F-150 Lightning. There's a note in here. I don't think it's right. So I'm not. So they're scheduling for the weeks of December 11th and December 18th. I believe that's right. There are some things that are copied over from the other F1 from the F1, the gas F-150. So I won't talk about that because I don't know if that's right. But it does say in here that the 24 model year order bank could be opening up in October. So I guess hopefully we'll get some information on that tomorrow. We do have some information for October scheduling, which is November and December's information for production, which against December is always a bad month for production. But so we'll see. We'll find out about that. So there you go. Order banks right now, from what I know of, are open. And here it says they closed on the 21st.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's true. I tried putting in an order. When was the 21st? Thursday? I tried putting an order on Friday, I think, and I put it in. So, all right. 23 model year Mach-E is not scheduled this week. There's only 61 unscheduled orders in the order bank. And I don't know the number on F-150 Lightning. And by the way, 85% of those 61 are the standard range LFP battery. There you go. All right. And order banks are open up for the 23, I think, still. But it does say in here 24 model year opens up 10/16. So we could be getting some information on the Mach-E's and the Lightnings real soon. So, and I believe the 23 model year or 24 model year Lightning will be the same body style as well as the 23 Mach-E or 24 Mach-E as the current. Don't think either one of them are getting any kind of refresh. So I know we've seen 24 gas get, look, but if you look, we do know that the 24 model year F-150 Platinum Black Edition is available, and we see that it doesn't look any different than 23. Yeah. So we believe that's going to stay to that body style for another year. Typically, they go 3 years before refresh. So 23 model year Transit Connect van and wagon, they are scheduling for weeks in the weeks of November 6th through December 18th, which is be their balance out. So dealers that have allocations, 300 orders in the order bank is all they have. So they're almost done there. Right. 23 model year Transit, 11,000 orders in the order bank for that. So, and they're scheduling for the weeks of November 6th through December 4th. think that's their balance out. 24 model year Transit order banks are open up right now. So some things to note there. So we'll go through these here and we'll wrap up scheduling. So the 3.5 V6 Cyclone engine, that's engine option 99.8, is orders needed to from dealers with remaining non-BEV commodity allocations. So that Cyclone engine is pretty well, they have enough of those. They can make those. It's people that have the EcoBoost that they're struggling with. Also, the high res camera temporarily available for stock orders. So if you have a stock, don't have any orders, retail orders, not sure who does. I think everybody has retail orders, but in case you don't, you need a stock order. That is temporarily available now for stock. It does say, please consider that power sliding door is not available for 24 model year. There you go. All right. And limited availability for these options: the high roof jumbo bus, the high roof long bus, the low roof van, the 3.5 EcoBoost engine, which is engine 99G, the 360-degree camera, the high-res camera, which is option 61E, and that 360 camera is option 61D. The Sync 4 with the Sirius XM and satellite, and the 360L, option 58F is limited. Option 58U, the AM/FM stereo with a 4-inch multifunction display. The Transit Trail package, the digital rear view mirror, option 90C. Also, the 10-way power driver and passenger ebony leather, option 21S, as well as a 10-way power driver and passenger ebony cloth, option 21R, and the 10-way power driver and passenger dark palazzo gray cloth, option 21Q. So it sounds like to me you're not getting a power seat for the rest of the year. Well, it says limited availability, so we know how that works. Balance out options are these. So that means, so when we say balance out, it means there's not a chance on these. So that's not exhausted. It's no chance. So depopulated key fob, the power running boards, the side 4060 barn doors, all crew van body types, and the Transit 350 heavy duty dually cutaway chassis cab cargo vans. And then not available for stock orders is the 3.5 EcoBoost, as well as the 360-degree camera for your ICE orders.